In this video, I am going to be talking about equivalent fractions. So I'm going to start with the definition of an equivalent fraction. Equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same value but different numbers. All right, so I'm going to give you an example of an equivalent fraction or two equivalent fractions using these drawings that I made. So if I take this shape right here and I color or shade in one side of it, the fraction that is being represented here is 1/2. And if I come over on this side and I do the exact same thing, but if you notice on this side, the circle is cut into different pieces. So this would actually be 1 out of 8. There are 8 pieces in this section. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 4/8. So 1/2 is actually equivalent to 4/8. It is the exact same value. So I often tell the story of the pizza. If you have a pizza and you're going to eat half a pizza, you actually only eat 1 piece out of 2. But if you cut the pizza into 8 pieces and you eat 4 pieces, that doesn't mean you had a whole lot more. That means you actually had half a pizza. It is exactly the same value. Another example, if I have this shape down here, a circle, cut into 4 equal pieces, and I color in 2. The fraction here would be 2/4. Again, if I color 1 piece out of the 2 on this side, the fraction represented here is 1/2. So 2/4 is equal to 1/2. And actually, if you look at all the pictures, 1/2, 1/8, 1/2, 4/8, and 2/4 are all equivalent fractions because they all have the same value. Now these are equivalent fractions with a picture. You might see that. Now I have some examples that we're going to work on without drawings. So 3/4. If you have to come up with an equivalent fraction to 3/4, what you do is you can either multiply or you can divide. So there's not really anything I can divide equally in this fraction, so I'm going to multiply. Now when you multiply, you want to keep the number small. You don't want to multiply by large numbers unless you have to. And you also don't want to multiply by 1, because if I multiply by 1, I'm going to get the exact same fraction. So I'm going to take 3 and multiply it by 2, and whatever I do on the top, I have to do on the bottom. So 3 times 2 is equal to 6. 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So 3/4 is equal to 6/8. See if I can zoom in a little bit. All right, 2/7. Again, I'm going to multiply the top by, say, a 3. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. 7 times 3 is equal to 21. So 2/7 is equal to 6/21. These two are equivalent fractions. Here's another example. 6/8. This is an example where I'm going to divide. I see that both the 6 and the 8 are even numbers, so I can divide the 6 by 2, and I can also divide the 8 by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. That means 6/8 is equal to 3/4. Here's another one. 7 21s. I can see that 7 is divisible by 7, and so is 21. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So 7 21s is equal to 1/3. So there are two ways to find equivalent fractions. You can either multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, or you can divide the numerator and the denominator again by a number that both numbers are divisible by. For example, in this fraction, both the 6 and the 8 are divisible by 2. In this fraction, the 7 and the 21 are both divisible by 7. Now, you might have a problem that looks like this, finding the missing numbers. In this case, you have to find the number that is missing. So what I like to do is I like to look at my numbers from left to right and see, okay, if my numbers from left to right are increasing, you are going to multiply to find the missing number. So ask yourself, 8 times what is equal to 16? And the answer to that is 2. 8 times 2 is equal to 16, which means whatever you do on the bottom, you do to the top. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. The answer here is 2/8 is equal to 4/16. These two fractions are equivalent fractions. Let's try another one. My numbers from left to right are increasing, not the value of the fractions, because these two are going to be equivalent fractions. They're going to be equal in value, but just the numbers. So since they're increasing, that means I'm going to multiply. So I ask myself, 1 times what is equal to 3? The answer is 3. 1 times 3 is equal to 3. So 5 times 3 is equal to 15. That means 1/5 is equal to 3/15. Now, look at this example. The numbers from left to right are decreasing. Not the value of the fraction, just the numbers. That means I am going to divide. So I'm going to ask myself, 6 divided by what equals 1? So that would be 6. 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1. So whatever I do on the top, I have to do on the bottom. 18 divided by 6 is equal to 3. So 6/18 is equal to 1/3. Here's another example. My numbers from left to right are decreasing, which means I'm going to divide. Ask yourself, 15 divided by what is equal to 3? The answer here would be 5. So 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. This means 5/15 is equal to 1/3. And that's how you can find the missing number when you're looking for equivalent fractions. Now, I've got another piece of paper here, and this time I want you to get a piece of notebook paper or any kind of paper that you might have at home and copy these problems down and practice. And then bring them to class. I'll check them, look them over, and see how you did. I hope that by looking at this video, by watching this video, that you have a better understanding of equivalent fractions. Thanks for watching.